In the vast, pitch-black ocean of space, far beyond the fading breath of sunlight, a lone traveler glides in silence. It's not a sleek starship captained by humans, nor a probe designed for return. It's Voyager 2, a battered yet unyielding envoy, flung from Earth nearly 50 years ago. A ghost from another era. Most believe that once it crossed the edge of our solar system, it became little more than a relic, silently listening, gently whispering back its readings from the interstellar dark. But something has changed. Voyager 2 saw something. Something that should have been still. Something that shouldn't have been there. For years, its lonely cruise through the void was uneventful, just drifting through charged particles, magnetic fields, and the ever-present silence of deep space. But then, the silence cracked. A movement, deliberate and chillingly precise, shimmered in the black. This wasn't a comet. This wasn't radiation. This was different. When NASA scientists reviewed the strange spike Voyager 2 transmitted, unease set in. Because what they found was not noise. It was a signal that pulsed, a rhythm, not natural, not random. At first, JPL engineers thought it was interference, maybe a cosmic ray strike or Voyager's ancient systems glitching out. After all, it's been almost 5 decades since it launched. But then the signal came again, and again, stronger each time. It wasn't static, it wasn't chaos, it was a broadcast, and Voyager 2 had captured it. Once the signal was cleaned, isolated, and analyzed, a shape began to form in the data. A presence. Something real. Roughly 500,000 kilometers from Voyager 2, there it was. An object moving through space in a way nothing natural ever should. There are no known asteroid belts out there, no drifting planets, no icy comets on their return trip to the sun. This object wasn't part of any known catalog, and it wasn't just moving, it was tracking. The trajectory matched Voyager's own, mimicking it ever so slightly. Subtle changes, gentle course corrections, almost as if it were stalking the probe, like a predator shadowing its prey. Close enough to follow, distant enough not to alarm. Panic began spreading through the halls of NASA. What started as a plasma wave anomaly was now being taken seriously by more than just JPL engineers. Independent astronomers and military-linked observatories were discreetly looped in. And the verdict came fast. It wasn't a malfunction. It wasn't interference. It was company. Multiple sensors aboard Voyager confirmed it. Plasma fluctuations, magnetometer surges, even microscopic changes in the gyroscopes, all signs that something massive was nearby, adjusting its course in real time. But what truly chilled the room wasn't the movement. It was what came next. Hidden inside a routine data dump, engineers discovered an unauthorized burst of radio frequency, piggybacking on Voyager's signal, but not originating from its systems. Voyager wasn't programmed to send it, but it did. And when decrypted, the burst resolved into binary strings. Strings that, when visualized, took shape. Not chaos, not random noise. Patterns, spirals, loops, glyphs. This wasn't an error. This was a message. Stay with me, because what this message hinted at will change everything. The signal's patterns were unlike anything Voyager had ever recorded. These weren't bursts of radiation or magnetic spikes from solar flares. They were structured, intentional. Some saw crop circle geometry in the binary renderings. Others noticed spirals and loops eerily similar to symbols found in ancient human carvings, motifs that repeat across civilizations separated by oceans and millennia. NASA couldn't decode them, so they called in a task force, astrophysicists, cryptologists, even AI language model experts. The data was fed through powerful decryption tools, systems designed to detect structure and intent in otherwise meaningless noise. And what came back sent shivers down every spine in the room. This wasn't just any transmission. Its formatting, timing, and complexity matched what we would expect from an intentional, non-human intelligence. It was a form of contact, but it hadn't come from Voyager. It had embedded itself in Voyager's outgoing transmission, like a parasite or a stowaway. A signal that hitched a ride on our own messenger, turned its beacon into a megaphone. Was it a warning? A probe? A response to something we'd sent decades earlier? Nobody could say for sure, but the implications were too clear to ignore. Voyager 2 wasn't adrift anymore. It was being watched, and it wasn't alone. Across the agency, a cold realization began to settle. Scientists combed through data from Voyager 1, the only other object humanity had launched into the stars on a similar path. And in its logs, decades old, buried in static, they found it, a similar spike, almost identical. But back then, it had been dismissed as noise. Now, with context, it looked more like a first encounter. And this time, the encounter wasn't silent. Stay tuned, because what they uncovered next may be the most disturbing part of all. Armed with this new lens, scientists reanalyzed Voyager 1's ancient data through today's powerful AI decoders, systems capable of detecting patterns invisible to human eyes. The result? The waveform matched the anomaly recorded by Voyager 2 almost exactly. Not a coincidence, not a glitch, a direct match, which meant one thing: something is out there, and it has encountered both Voyager probes. Using advanced modeling, the team mapped the motion of the anomaly that Voyager 2 detected. What they found made every simulation break. It didn't follow gravitational paths. It didn't drift like space debris. It bent around the fabric of space in unnatural curves, as if warping space-time to move. No asteroid or comet behaves like this. No known propulsion can account for the acceleration and sudden stops the object executed. Worse still, it moved only when Voyager transmitted. It was reactive, watching, listening, waiting, which raised a darker possibility. What if Voyager didn't just discover this thing? It provoked it. Then came the magnetometer spikes. Sudden, jagged fluctuations in electromagnetic fields, as though something nearby was manipulating the environment. Theories exploded. Whispers of interstellar intelligence became harder to dismiss. And it wasn't just online forums. A former JPL engineer leaked a classified internal report suggesting something radical. The anomaly's electromagnetic field resembled a torus-shaped energy signature, eerily similar to theoretical Alcubierre drives, the math behind warp fields. If true, this wasn't just an object. It was a machine, a ship, something that wasn't just drifting by accident, but folding space to remain undetected. And the pulses Voyager 2 picked up weren't fading. They were growing. Something had noticed us, and it was getting closer. Don't blink. What happens next will reshape the way we see the entire cosmos. Back on Earth, something even more unsettling began to unfold. Radio telescopes in Chile, Australia, and South Africa each began to detect faint, distorted echoes of the exact same frequency Voyager 2 had transmitted. At first, they were dismissed as background noise. The universe is a loud place, filled with cosmic static, radiation, and galactic hum. But this wasn't random. These echoes had a signature. They pulsed, not just once, but in perfect synchrony with Voyager 2's telemetry delays. Every time Voyager sent something, something else echoed it back. Analysts gave it a name, the Phantom Pulse. It didn't behave like a reflection. It wasn't bouncing off space debris or planetary bodies. It was originating, and doing so with precise mathematical intervals. When the team tried to triangulate the source, the results were inconclusive, as if the signal was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. That's when a terrifying possibility emerged. This wasn't an isolated incident. This wasn't something localized to Voyager 2. Something out there was projecting itself across multiple regions of space, simultaneously. The signal wasn't just intelligent, it was strategic. Like a chess player moving pieces across the board, but only letting you see them once you're ready to notice. And suddenly, everything clicked. The timing, the signals, the repeating glyphs. Why now? Why not 20 years ago? Why not when Voyager crossed Neptune? Because now humanity has artificial intelligence. We have real-time decoding. We have the tools to finally hear the message. And maybe that's exactly what they were waiting for. This wasn't a chance encounter. It might have been an invitation. Keep watching, because what came next forced governments to act, and the world's silence wasn't just coincidence. Once the signals began echoing across the globe, the tone behind closed doors shifted. This was no longer just a scientific curiosity. It was classified. Governments moved fast. Media blackouts were quietly enacted. Observatories, especially privately owned, began reporting unexpected shutdowns. Some researchers working on signal analysis projects were abruptly pulled from their posts. Even top AI engineers connected to linguistic decryption tools found their access revoked. The silence wasn't accidental. It was enforced. Inside secure meetings, the question had changed. It wasn't what was out there anymore. It was why now? Voyager 2 had been traveling in silence for nearly 50 years. The expectation? A slow death in the cold black. But just as humanity's AI and quantum computing matured, just as we became capable of truly understanding deep space signals, it responded. Coincidence or coordination? Some now believe the anomaly wasn't reacting to Voyager at all. It was responding to us, to the sudden awakening of a civilization finally capable of listening. It had been waiting, watching, measuring our growth, and now we'd crossed the line. The moment we had the ability to translate, to decode, to understand, it made its move. And the real question now wasn't whether it was a threat, it was whether it had been here all along, not in distant galaxies, not on the edge of the observable universe, but here, in the dark fringe of our own solar system. And it wasn't just Voyager 2 anymore. The next signal could arrive at any moment. What happens when the silence breaks again? Stay locked in, because what Voyager uncovered next wasn't a discovery. It was a revelation. And it may just redefine what it means to be human. Voyager 2 had become more than a machine. It was now the center of the most profound mystery in modern history. And just when analysts thought they had seen everything, a final signal arrived. Unfiltered, raw, a continuous stream of electromagnetic readings, chaotic at first glance, but carrying a buried signature. Not background radiation, not cosmic interference, something else. When enhanced, the waveforms snapped into focus. They weren't chaotic at all. They were deliberate. Pulses arranged with almost surgical precision. Scientists ran a Fourier analysis, a method to break down complex frequencies into core patterns. What they saw made the room fall silent. The sequence mirrored the base harmonic of hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe. But with a twist. It was inverted, mathematically altered, structured, as if someone had taken the cosmic language of hydrogen and flipped it, not just to signal intelligence, but to send a message in the fundamental code of the universe itself. This was not noise. This was intentional contact. And when the signal's direction was mapped again, another anomaly emerged. The object, the one shadowing Voyager 2, had moved. And not just a little. Its position had changed dramatically, with movements no natural body could replicate. Not gravitational, not orbital, but precise, intentional corrections. It was still tracking Voyager, but from new angles. New vectors, as if it was studying it, or studying us. Was it adjusting its behavior to stay hidden, or was it preparing for the next step? The implications were growing heavier by the hour. This wasn't just contact. This felt like a test, and it was only just beginning. Don't go anywhere, because in the final chapter, the most disturbing detail of all is finally revealed. As the data poured in, the chilling reality grew impossible to ignore. Voyager 2 wasn't simply a lonely messenger anymore. It had become a trigger, a catalyst that shattered humanity's long-held belief in cosmic solitude. The strange moving structure, the mirrored signals, the encoded bursts. None fit our tidy models of physics or space. This presence, lurking just beyond our solar system, was watching. And now, for the first time, it had chosen to respond. Not when Voyager launched, not when it passed Neptune or Pluto, but now. At the moment our technology finally caught up, when artificial intelligence and quantum decoding gave us the keys to understand. What does this mean for us? Are we still observers in this vast universe? Or have we just awakened something that has been watching us far longer than we ever imagined? One thing is certain, the question of whether we're alone is no longer the most important one. The real question is, what have we just woken? And how will it change everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the cosmos? Stay alert, because this story is far from over. The next signal could come at any moment, and the next discovery may not just change our knowledge of the universe, it could change who we are. If you found this mind-blowing, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And let me know in the comments, what do you think Voyager 2 really found? What should we do next? I want to hear your theories. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and stay vigilant.